And thank you so much for joining us for another edition of All Angles. I'm Dion Jacksmiller. So, a difference in law and culture over same-sex marriage manifesting in diplomatic, shall we call it, exchanges between Jamaica and the United States. Going to be talking about that a little later on in the program. But first, shocking news that the two most senior executives at one of Jamaica's most prominent financial organizations are on their way out. CEO Patrick Hilton and Deputy CEO Dennis Coyne of the NCB Financial Group are leaving after 2 decades with the organization, and the news comes just after reports that Group Chairman Michael Lee Chin had publicly expressed his frustration, along with the frustration of many other shareholders, with the non-payment of dividends for over 2 years. He cut short a leave of absence to return to work. So joining me in studio to discuss these issues, we have business content manager at the Jamaica Observer, Dashan Hendricks. Also with us, financial educator and consultant Keisha Bailey. On Zoom, we have development economist Dr. Christian Stokes, and we thank you all so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. So, Dashan, let me start with you because I know you've been following the news. I did use the words there, shocking news. Was it for you?
Well, in terms of which one of the news?
Barring your internal sources.
Which one of the news being
that,
shocking?
The CEO and Deputy CEO were leaving.
Yeah, certainly shocking, of course, because there are some issues that were brewing in the public's domain over some time about arguments certainly about their compensation vis-a-vis shareholders not getting dividends. And I spoke to Michael Lee Chin last week and I did an article which he expressed his disappointment, saying that he's not happy with the situation. But that was last week. To come into this week, Monday morning, and wake up to messages that, hey, Patrick Hilton and Dennis Coyne have been sent on leave was really a shock.
Let's contextualize it a little bit, Keisha Bailey, because as I mentioned, it's been 2 years now. And when you look at what has happened to the share price of NCB, I mean, we had at one point, shares were trading for $249. That was in the heady days of July 2019. That's when people were thinking, hold on, this now stop, go up.
Yeah, straight to the moon.
Up and up and up. And today traded at, the share price is about 75% fall over that period of time. So give us a little bit of context there.
But to put it in long-term context, yes, a massive decline. But since the news broke, the share price is higher. Because the releases, what we saw is that the share price was hovering around $65 for a period of time. It's now higher. It was higher yesterday. And a second day gains as well. So the news is being met with higher investor confidence. There's more buying coming back into the market. That's what we're seeing in these 2 days.
Is it necessarily their departure, you think, though, or the suggestion coming from Lee Chin, say, come, dividend time now?
It's the dividends for sure. One thing we know, investors love dividends, love regular cash flows in hand. And so the news around Michael Lee Chin's displeasure with dividends is pushing it now. Persons are saying, well, he's back in the forefront. We can count on some dividends coming soon. A meeting is going to be scheduled soon. So let's see if there's going to be a dividend declared. That's what investors are buying into.
Chris Stokes, I'm going to bring you here in on this because, I mean, Michael Lee Chin is one man though. You have a whole board that had been, making these kinds of decisions, sure, on the recommendation of management, but still, it's the board who has been making these decisions over the past 2 years.
Well,
so it's too much being put on Hilton and Coyne.
I think there's a conflation of issues. I think that there's reason on behalf of some of the leadership of NCB that the gentlemen be out.